welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Riesa, Pascal. Young girls in America are going through puberty at earlier ages than ever before. And while the causes are still in question, some experts fear for the effects early puberty may have on a young woman's health later in life. Joining us today to help provide some insight and understanding into these new puberty trends is Dr. Paula Newton, a pediatric endocrinologist at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Dr. Newton, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Riesa. Thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah, super important topic. I want to know, from your experience, how have puberty trends for young girls changed over the years?
I think trends is a really great way to put that because we have noticed at least the timing of puberty has seemed to get a little bit earlier, at least by a few months as compared to how it was 20 years ago. I think it's definitely something that we need to pay attention to, but I'm not sure what the long-term outcome of that will be.
Do you have some numbers as far as ages? Say, 20 years ago, puberty was happening around this range, and now it's over here. Like, what is that decrease in the average age?
The difference seems to be measured by a matter of months, but there are definite ethnic differences as far as ages of puberty. So girls who are minorities do tend to go through puberty a little bit earlier, um, do- as compared to girls who are white.
Interesting. And I actually heard that some have started as early as 6. Have you seen that?
I would say yes, that is correct. We have
Wow.
seen some signs of puberty in girls, though that's not always the norm. The Pediatric Endocrine Society, or the standard definition of what is early puberty, is defined as any sign of puberty before age 8 in girls or before age 9 in
I
boys.
see. I see. And is this limited to just American youth, or are we actually seeing these trends globally?
So the interesting thing is, it did seem to be described first in America, but that trend has definitely spread to other countries.
Wow. So something globally is making this happen. Why do you think we are seeing this decline in the average age?
So that's an excellent question. A lot of the studies that were done early were done in very similar populations. So starting in the 1970s, with girls who were white and girls who are in orphanages. Maybe some of the trend that we're seeing now is that we're including a more diverse study population. So we're bringing in more people from other ethnic groups. That could be one factor.
Do you think health and diet, anything like that, is also a factor?
Well, I will say, as a pediatric endocrinologist, we know that your weight and whether or not you are overweight or obese does factor into when you go into puberty. As girls who are in that overweight or obese have that BMI, they do have that trend to go into puberty earlier.
I see. And how does genetics play a role in this? How much can be blamed on genetics versus our diet and other external factors?
One of the questions I ask parents when I'm taking my family history is, what age did you go into puberty? How about your female cousins? How about your sister? How about your mother? If you have that information, genetics does play a role. As girls who in that family have other members who go into puberty earlier, they are a little more likely to go into puberty earlier.
All right, let's talk about health risk associated with early puberty. I mean, when you go through puberty, everyone is expected to go through it at some point. So when you start it earlier in life, how does that affect you, either mentally, physically? Let's talk through that.
There have been studies that show that who go through puberty early do have some increased risk of anxiety, depression, other mood disorders. It can be a little bit off-putting or a little bit jarring to have a young girl who might be having a period as early as age 9 or 10. So
Yeah.
I think that's where good mental health support, people to talk to, open relationship with parents can be a really helpful thing.
Wow. So if parents are worrying that their child is going through puberty too early, what can they do?
Well, I will say, as an endocrinologist, one of the things that is associated with early puberty is weight. So, trying to maintain a healthy weight, limiting fast foods, junk foods in the diet. And if parents have concerns, I can't advocate enough for having a pediatrician that does a well child check yearly. And then, if there are concerns that puberty is happening early, refer to a pediatric endocrinologist.
What signs should they be looking out for specifically? Do you have
So
those?
I'll say this, yes, the signs of early puberty in girls that are estrogen mediated is breast development. For boys, it's testicular enlargement. And I will say that's a very hard one for parents to determine. So that's why you need a pediatrician or medical professional to tell you what's going on there.
That's right. And I know we're talking about young girls, but you did just mention boys there. And if I
Mhm.
can ask, do you know if we're seeing early trends in boys as well? Because I hear in the news right now we're talking a lot about the girls. And
Mhm.
I'd be very interested to know if this is just centered to girls or if, all our youth are going through this.
Well, it is to a smaller extent boys and girls, but it's so much more obvious in girls. The signs of puberty, like it's something that people see, it's something that people pay attention to. I think it's sometimes something that gathers girls' unwanted attention that parents have to be mindful of. So I think that's why there's more to focus on the girls as compared to the boys.
All right. And then I just want to know for those at home, if you can explain exactly what an endocrinologist does, because there's so much more to your work than just puberty. Could you give us
Yes.
a little insight into what you do?
Thank you so much for asking me that question. Endocrinology is one of those branches of medicine that people don't know about until you actually meet one. So, an endocrinologist, a lot of what I do is diabetes, but we also deal with hormones. So, how parts of the body, specifically the brain, communicate with other parts of the body.
All
So that
right.
we treat children who have puberty, hormonal
I
disorders,
see.
thyroid disorders.
Excellent. Dr. Newton, where can we go for more information?
So the website, I believe, will be up there shortly, but you can go to the Pediatric Endocrine Society or University of Maryland also has pediatric endocrinologists, and we are happy to help as you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Newton. We'll be back with more and shortly.